Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. It is Tuesday. Good morning. I am Lori Monaco, the Badass Buddha, coming to you from Southern Connecticut. I am your chiropractic physician specializing in holistic practice. I am your wellness coach. I am your speaker teacher. Mindfulness, specializing in mindfulness centered workshops, and soon to be author. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome.
Good morning, good morning. Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita. I am your gladiator guru. Under the weather, still. Um, I am. Let's talk about. Let's start off with your end of life doula because that's so exciting, and the more you research it, the more you learn. I am your artist, your writer, your author, your wedding officiant. I am your spiritual coach and sacred healer, feeding the spirit and nurturing the ego. Good morning and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche.
Good morning. I know you're still not feeling good at all, and we're so sorry about that. Um, and then Gladiator Guru is she's in Connecticut, and this is going on 3 weeks, I think, right? And leaves tomorrow, but
Today's
that's
actually a month that I've been here. I got here
it's been a
October
month.
9th.
My
Yeah,
God.
the day before my mommy's birthday. Yeah, so
You've
today
been here a
is
month, and so it sucks to travel when especially when you're just, you have such a cold. So are they gonna make you do, a test because you're sick? Like, do you have to have one done before you go?
no,
Okay.
because I already had one done.
Oh,
But
that's right. That's right.
no, it's just with the cold. I don't know if it's the dry ear. My eczema has been like alive and kicking back of my neck, all on the bottom of my face. So with the steroid cream on it, I'm swollen. Um, yeah, my hands are really bad. But yeah, other than that, it's a beautiful morning.
See, there you go. So positive. Look at you. And good morning to everybody. Tiffany Bryan was first on. Good morning, Tiffany. We've got Lillian Maldonado in the house. The queen is here. Chenille Real Deal, good morning. Milagros Medina, good morning. Maria Garcia, good morning. Francia Elena Rodriguez Reyena. That one's always hard for me with the R's. Good morning. And she always says happy Tuesday. Editha said she's sick too. What does it say? Damn, ladies. So sorry you both have to travel like that.
Yeah.
You all must be partying too much. Is that what it is? Maybe
I
that's what it
haven't
is.
seen Iris since the event, and she has an upper respiratory infection as well. She's on antibiotics, and we're both traveling together back to Florida tomorrow morning. So yeah, that really sucks.
Oh,
I have to
what
be.
it's I feel bad for the people who sit next to you two.
Oh shit. Thank God we have to wear the mask though.
Yes, yes, because the masks block everything.
Oh yeah, of course. Maria Garcia, welcome. She hasn't been on for a while. Milagros, we need your address, Milagros. So yeah, so happy Tuesday to everybody who signed on.
Yes, good. Happy Tuesday, and this is going to be a really fabulous show. We have this is good because we're going to be talking about cravings, and being a slave to your cravings, with our wellness and health coach Vickie Griffith. And this is really good time of the year to start talking about that because, and I'm sure this will come up in conversation. We're going to be talking about food addiction. And this time of the year is really, really challenging for people who have any type of addiction, whether it's food or even alcohol, because the holidays are coming up, and people, it's all out in front of them. The other piece is that most people have cravings and addictions because of they're emotionally connected to not just the foods or the drink, let's say, but they're also just they're emotionally spent. And as a reaction, knee-jerk reflex, we tend to, if we're upset about something, we'll go for food to comfort ourselves. And so it's this like crazy ride that happens as we get towards the holidays. And then there's the others that just don't really have a craving so much. Or they're emotionally connected. It's just, hey, it's here, and they give themselves permission to have all this stuff because it's out there. But sugar, as we've heard numerous times between the conversations that Gladiator Guru and I have had, and plus our guests, we know that itself is a drug. And so, there's nothing like sugar around the holidays.
Get the sugar. It's my favorite.
So
But
this
it's
will be
not so much the
good
holidays
conversation.
either. Like I know for me and my Puerto Rican people, we get to eat foods we haven't eaten all year round. We get the pasteles, and for us, every party or holiday, the pelnin and the arroz con gandules, and there's just certain things that you eat during the holidays, especially Thanksgiving into Christmas. Arroz dulce. It's just holiday traditional plates, desserts and flans and all of that. So I think even though you're trying to watch what you eat, that is like holiday meals are like the most temptational demon around.
But
And
you're right, though. That's a
yeah,
good
and
point.
then now we have acquired all of this gluten, celiac, candida, whatever, all of these things that have been happening to us now. And back then, you just cooked the food and you ate it, you devoured it because it's pasteles season, it's coquito season, it's arroz
Oh
dulce
yeah,
season.
coquito
So
season.
it's about commitment to self and knowing, oh my God, that smells so good, let me leave.
In fact, my soon-to-be 18-year-old daughter asked me about coquito. She said, "Mom, do you think it'd be okay if I have coquito for Christmas this year? For the holiday?" So I started laughing. I'm like, "Oh yeah, maybe I'll see if I can find a recipe and make it healthier."
Well, I don't like it, the one with the egg, but still, it's like that's like the coquito. It has sugar in it because everything has sugar. You
Tons
got
of
the
it.
coconut milk, and
Tons
then
of
you
it.
have the rum, and it's like marron. Like you can't even pick one or the other. They're so like orgasmic when you have them both
Yeah,
together. Like who
yeah.
can have one glass of coquito?
That's right. And that's the problem. That's the absolute problem with cravings is you become a slave to it because of how it affects your body and like chemically how it affects your body. And that's where the addictive properties come in as well. So it's a reprogramming, and it's hard to do that because again, it's so ingrained in the culture, especially around the holidays. So you come in, and if you say to somebody, "Oh, I don't really want that. I'm not going to eat that." They're like, thinking something's wrong with you. So they'll
Come
be like, "What's the matter with you?"
mierda. Oh, you're on a diet. Then they make you feel like 5 times worse than when you walk through the door. Like you come in with that mindset, like I'm not gonna do it. They're gonna have to respect my decision for my health. And the minute you walk in, you just give in because you don't want to hear them talking shit about you or to you, because that's such a sign of disrespect not to eat your elders' foods, especially during the holiday.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Oh
So
my
my
gosh,
people, stand
absolutely.
strong.
That's
Fuerte.
right. We'll have a group support text for the holidays. How's that? It will be support to not eat the bad stuff. It'll be a support to deal with the family members that are driving you nuts. And we'll just have this line going back and forth. I'm feeling that phone will be going off like crazy throughout the day because this year we are headed back to holiday gatherings. A lot of people are going to be getting together this year, and everybody's happy about it. But at the same time, there's a reservation about it. Some people loved the split last year because their family makes them very stressed out and they had a great excuse not to get together. And then this year, not so much. So it's going to be challenging across the board. So the way you can look at it is, for those of you that just love getting together with your family, this is the time to think of it in terms of the joy of getting together with everybody that you haven't seen in a while and in one group and talking. Don't focus so much on the outside sources that are going to bring you joy. Just be very mindful, and that's going to be a big piece of the conversation today. So before we get into that, what are you drinking, Gladiator Guru?
Well, before we get into that, how many of us here, and be honest in the comments, right? how many of us are going to refrain from eating anything unhealthy a week or two prior to getting with the familia for the holidays? And then detoxing a day or two afterwards to get back on track. Be honest, put it in the comments.
So you starve before, then you eat like crazy.
You go like, you become a vegetarian a week before, healthy vitamins, all this shit, right? And then you enjoy the festivities, and then you go on like that 3-day liquid water and soup and all that.
Which is so healthy, by the way. This is what Chanel said. I will not. I love food and I eat in moderation. Of course, moderation is good, but also choices are good. But Chanel looks fabulous. And, you could see that she's making some really healthy choices. So
I did, when I'm in Connecticut, one of the best stops I like to go to is Vivi. And people here, especially in Bridgeport, know who Vivi is.
Yep.
And nope, we didn't. I haven't been to Famous Pizza since I left here. Well, prior to that. So, I mean, there are weaknesses that's ingrained in us, that is like habitual. Because we go to certain places, like you want to alcapurria, you go to Vivi because they make it from yuca. It's like delicious. You walk in and you just want to eat the ear. That's how delicious it smells. But I guess little by little you go weaning, and it's just like the monk fruit. Like, look, I'm already out, but it's easy to grab the regular sugar because it's there, and everybody has regular sugar in their house. But no, you have to go and you grab your bag and you do whatever, and it's about the choices for you to be healthy.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
So, what you drinking?
What am I drinking? I'm not drinking my coffee because I can't find green beans. So I haven't made any more. I'm drinking a dark rose. It's from Audi's. I don't even know the brand. They didn't have Bustelo, so I just bought that one, and it's okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what. It's from Audi's. That's all I remember. Excuse me, people.
I went back to my unleaded. I switched back to the decaf for a little bit, and I love the taste of their coffee. Their coffee is really, really good. So I definitely recommend it. And I've had their leaded brand, the caffeinated stuff, and it's really good. So that's not the name of the brand. I always forget the name of the brand, but it says unleaded in big letters across the top.
So that's what we're gonna call it. That's like the nickname.
Well, you would see it. You can't miss it in an aisle. If you see it, it just says unleaded across the top. So you can't miss it. So good. All right. So I have the intention for today, and you have the mantra. So the intention today is we're going to keep it really simple, and we're going to keep it along the same lines as, what we're going to be talking about. And just a quick shout out to Attica Bolahala. We also see Arlene Gonzalez. Good morning. So the intention for today is, today I will make powerful and healthy choices. Today I will make powerful and healthy choices for myself. And you could say for myself, but remember, you are a vessel. And if you're helping other people, the choices that you make for yourself inevitably help other people. So I will make powerful and healthy choices for myself today. And good morning, Janet.
I like that. Just simple mantra. Today, I will be truly happy. Today, I will be truly happy. I know the power of forgiveness.
Today, I will be happy. I know the power of forgiveness.
I saw that one yesterday, and I was like, that's so... Forgiveness is,
Forgiveness is forgiveness.
Forgiveness is the most healing boulevard you can travel on.
Love that. Healing boulevard. All right. So with that, let's talk about, we're a little tired today, you could see. Well, Gladiator Guru still just doesn't feel good. So
I don't feel good.
She's going to be spewing out all her stuff and how it's touching her lips. And and flowing down into her and bringing up all the, see, I can't do it. I can't do it like she does it. So she'll be up and running soon. All right.
Oh, my
And
sister's on.
and hopefully you'll be okay, because we have the show on Thursday, and then this Friday night, we also have the night show. So we can't forget about
I
that
totally
one.
forgot about Viva Moms After Dark on Friday. Yeah, but I'll be back in Tampa. So
yes. All right. So our guest today is Vickie Griffith, and she is, I have her, we're gonna post her website and all the other ways that you can reach her. So from a ho-hum unhappy fat existence as a teenager, Vickie Griffith is now 70 pounds lighter and kept the pounds off without dieting. She will teach you how to crush cravings, manage anxiety, stop sabotage, and keep calm even through the chaos. I cannot read this morning. She is an author of Stuck Up, a breakthrough path to unstuck, and you can be right about everything and still have nothing, a professional speaker and licensed minister. How lovely. Vickie is known for her infectious enthusiasm and deceptively low-key, casual approach, speaking and traveling throughout the country, offering keynotes, coaching, and workshops. And her big specialty is what she wants to focus on, is weight loss without willpower. So talking about crushing those cravings. So here we go. Let's bring Vickie in. There she is.
good morning.
Morning, Vickie. Good morning. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm fabulous. I have loved listening to you do.
Oh, really? Today we're off. So if you're loving listening to today,
We were fantabulous today.
We are fantabulous.
You are yes, absolutely fantabulous today. I absolutely agree with that. Even if you feel a little off, your messages were amazing, and I just love listening to you. So a lot of it is spot on what you've talked about, but I'm here to help people get a little bit more real-time advice, I guess, in tackling all the traditions you talked about, because we could either walk into this thinking, well, from November 25th to January 3rd, I'm going to eat whatever I want and gain the 10 pounds that everybody else gains. Yep. Or we can walk in with a different mindset. And that's really, you square on, that's what it's about, with a different mindset and a plan to how you're going to handle the holidays.
So Vickie, start off with just your story. Like, tell everybody like how you got into this, and how heavy were you as a teenager, and what was that like, having the weight on? Because I put my weight on when I was older. I was thin for pretty much until I hit about 32. Mm-hmm. But some people, it's younger. So, and especially nowadays, we see that a lot nowadays.
Actually, I always had a weight problem. So I was the chubby little baby, and then I was a chubby toddler. And then when you get to be about 3, chubby isn't so cute anymore. And so I grew up fat. I just always was. And what that did as a shy, reserved, withdrawn child is it created more shyness. And I was the observational child on the playground, watching everyone else play because I didn't get chosen. And I didn't understand why. I didn't really understand what was going on until about 10. And that's when my mom took me to the doctor to get an appetite suppressant. In those days was speed.
Yes.
It didn't last long, being the shy, reserved, quiet child. I'm sure I became something outrageous, and that didn't last long. But that's when I realized I was different and there was something wrong with me. And that's when I started blaming everything on being fat. So my parents had a fight. It was because I was fat. If something wasn't quite going well in the family, it was because I was fat. It was always on me. And so I dealt with it my whole life, my whole entire life, on and off diets, everything from cottage cheese and ketchup to the grapefruit pills to the cabbage soup diet to the big box programs. Would lose some weight, gain it back, and more. And it was after the birth of our son, and I weighed over 200 pounds, and I thought I would surely lose 80. after giving birth to an almost 10-pound baby. And a couple years later of antagonizing over my weight, and I did all the things right that I was supposed to lose weight. I breastfed, and I thought, that's going to lose 80 pounds there. No, it didn't do anything. Then I realized one day that I, one, was not going to diet anymore because dieting was making me fat. I was going to cut my portions. I was not going to give up any foods that I loved. So I was going to cut my portions instead. I threw away my scale because that was such a damn judging device.
What a demon.
Oh my gosh. You're right. It was a demon. I threw away my scale and I started working with my mindset using self-hypnosis. And those 4 things, I started really releasing weight, and I've kept it off now for 20 some years.
Wow. And you did this yourself, like you took charge of yourself. You didn't follow a particular program. You just put together something that worked for you. And then from there, you created a business off of that.
Correct. So most coaches, we kind of make our mess our message, and that's what I ended up doing with some kicking and screaming, I have to add, because it's been a difficult road for me. And I didn't know if I wanted to, I wanted to show people how to make the changes. I didn't know if I wanted to make that my business. But it's worked out that way. God always has that way. The universe kind of puts us in a direction sometimes, whether we know it or not. And that has become my superpower, as I can help people move through releasing weight without the struggle that I used to go through. And like I said, I always thought I thought I was weak willpower. I didn't know that willpower was only intended to last a short amount of time.
Yes.
And exactly. And, we're talking about going into these family events and all these parties. Willpower is a way to get you, like you said, started, but it's not going to take you through an entire 4 or 5 weeks of holiday season by just your willpower. And then if it doesn't work, then you feel badly. I know I did. I felt badly about myself. I created a lot of judgment and guilt and shame. And I'm like, this is all such wasted emotion. And it's like we talked about earlier, forgiveness starts with you forgiving yourself. Mm-hmm. So I really have found that it's not worth it to go on the strict food program, especially to set myself up on that kind of rigid food program during this time of year. I would be failing at it constantly, which would create more guilt and shame, which would create more judgment, which would create more regimen. And that cycle had to break. And that's how I changed this, changing the cycle of habit and of thought.
I know you said you didn't, you you originally started with cutting portions and you were eating whatever you wanted to eat. In the time period though, have you cut certain foods out of your diet because you've learned that they don't work well for you, or you learned that these really aren't that great for you? So you're shaking your head. Yes. What have you cut out?
My diet, actually the way I eat today, I could have never imagined myself eating this way, because this is the way skinny bitches eat. And I could never be one of those. So the sugar that you were mentioning, that's my go-to. I have 3 pounds of it in the house at all times because I bake with it, I cook with it. It's about making healthy substitutions that you still get that taste and that texture that we're craving, because that's so important in our emotional health as well as our physical health. So what happened is through using self-hypnosis and changing my mind and my habits, I started tweaking my food program. And I'll never, ever forget the day I walked into Wendy's and I was intending to order my junior cheeseburger and my small fry and my Diet Coke, because that's what I ate when I went to Wendy's. And I actually was craving that. And when the cashier asked me what I wanted that day, I said, I'll have the grilled chicken salad. And I literally looked behind me because I thought the person behind me just ordered. And
I love it.
When I stood there, I kept thinking, well, wait a minute. That's really what I want. That's what my body is saying. Now, is it the healthiest choices? Probably not, even now. And I've made some switches from that time. So I no longer eat dairy. I no longer eat gluten, and I'm sugar-free as well. However, at that time, that was considered a healthy choice. And at that time, I wanted it rather than had to have it because it was on the diet. And that was a huge shift for me.
Yep.
That's a really key way of saying something, because that's the difference between a craving and actually listening to what your body is lacking and what it. So when you feel like you, and it's a fine line, because we mentally don't distinguish it from it. So what our body's saying that it wants versus what you're craving. And so when you say, I have to have that, you say, oh, my body must want it. And that's not necessarily true. So it's like the idea of that. Usually when somebody says, oh, I really want all that dessert looks really great. And it's funny because they'll eat the dessert and then they'll eat like another piece. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I can't eat anymore. It's like you get this sickly feeling, like I just ate way too much sugar. Like even though in the beginning you were like, I have to have this. This is what I really want. My body wants it. And you eat a little bit and then your body starts to like reject it after a little bit, and then and I've noticed this numerous times whenever I've ever done a detox program, because I've done the same thing. I've had an eating disorder that I dealt with since I was a teenager, and binge eating and throwing up and starving myself and doing all these crazy diets. But when I've done the moments where I've done cleanses, where I was doing a candida cleanse or whatever, and I cleaned myself out when I was starting to eat again, it's like I knew my body was asking for the things that were healthier. That it was, when I would look at it and say, geez, I'll eat an apple. That's what I'm in the mood for, an apple, when I was seeing a cookie there. But my body wanted the apple and it told me that. But what happens is it's like, just like drinking, like an alcoholic, you step off just a little bit and say, well, I know I want the apple and I really need to have the apple, but maybe one little cookie's not going to be a big deal. And then you take a bite of that cookie and then that's that. It's like your body instantly switches back to, oh, okay, it's the cookie. So do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like when the cravings really take over, like what is going on with us and how we can stop being a slave to our cravings. And good morning, Bridget Williams. Good rising to you.
So absolutely. So what's happening is there's a couple of things. One, your mind has a habit loop. And so it's continuing to go into the old habit. The subconscious mind always wants to keep you safe. That's its entire job, is to keep you safe. And for whatever reason, it's been programmed to believe that those sugars, those cookies, the breads, whatever it might be for you, keeps you safe. And so that habit is kicking in. Then there's the brain. So the brain has a program that if you eat XYZ, so if you eat one cookie, then you have to eat a half a dozen, because that's just habit in the past. It's ingrained in your brain. The brain doesn't really know any differently. It just goes, okay, here you go. And part of that is our programming from our past. So how have we always dealt with things? I dealt with everything in my life through food.
Me too.
So I developed all of those habits, which in turn created a physical craving for the foods, which was based on an emotional craving that I wasn't getting fulfilled. And so if we start looking at, and sometimes it takes someone else to help you kind of pull all this apart. So where did the emotional craving start that wasn't fulfilled? And what's the actual physical craving? And like you said, you see the apple and you go, ooh, that looks good. And then you see the cookie and like, ooh, that looks better. That's a programmed response. And that's been created. So so there's a whole lot of things. And and you know better than I do too about the physical craving piece. I always look at the emotional counterpart. I'm the emotional and the mental, the brain person. But there's a physical piece of that. The sugar or any carb creates a sugar I don't want to say problem. It creates a sugar rise, and therefore there's a physical craving to that as well. So I actually have a technique that you can all use. It takes about 30 seconds, really it does, to release a craving. It's going to help you release the craving on all of those aspects, physically, emotionally, mentally. And it's going to help you to not only distance yourself or avoid it, because I know every one of you have ways to do that. I used to have ways to do that. That didn't mean I didn't stop thinking about it, or still the craving was still there. But this will actually take that piece away too. And it's at crushcravings.com, which is one of the websites, the URLs that I did not give to you, but crushcravings.com, and you can have it for free. It's a video download series. You can have it for free. It will show you how to crush cravings in 30 seconds. It's the one that I have been using for the last 20 some years. It's the one that I share all my clients, and it will help with the craving piece while you're working with what's going on the inside, because you really have to look at what's going on in your head and your heart before there's permanent changes made.
Absolutely, you're talking about it. To me, like, my weight problem is always emotional. At 11, 12, I was 211 pounds.
Oh my gosh. It's hard to imagine.
But I was being molested during that time. At 14, when I finally fought back, like fist fought back, and it stopped, like within 4 months of it, I didn't stop eating or nothing like that. I saw the weight loss coming off, and within 6 months, I was 123 pounds. That lasted me until I was pregnant with my daughter. I was 17 at that part. I went up at 9 months to 211. But then after I had her, I maintained 143 pounds up until like way after my son was born, a couple years later. And then when things start to get in the way, then I go up. And it's not that I eat all of it. I saw that Chanel wrote, I love crunchy things like chips. Yes, I love crunchy things. And I've read a lot of things associated with anger as well when you crave crunchy. So Chanel, we're blood, honey. So we have that little anger issue stuff. But that's with me. It's always been that. And I've been on those amphetamine pills back in the day. Oh, Maron, where you were like, blah, like I was Samson. Who the hell was Delilah at that point? And then all of a sudden it dropped. And I was like a drug addict. Like, I couldn't get up. I couldn't walk. And yeah, I made you lose weight because it's made you starve yourself. But yeah, I think we all were on those eating disorders. I think they have so many descriptions of what they actually are. Because when someone says, I had an eating disorder, right away you think bulimia and anorexia, right? But there's just so much more in between. But yeah, mine is it's a lot of stress, where people would be in my stress situation and lose weight. I never understood that. I think I always like envied them. I envied anybody in my past that had like a superb metabolism. I was like, oh my God, you look great, you bitch. How do you weight? You know,
it's more common for when people are stressed, especially women. It's more common for them to gain than lose. I mean, you can lose, but more commonly you see the gain.
Yeah. It's true. It is true.
So
we were talking.
Go ahead, Vickie. Go ahead. No, go
we
ahead.
were all talking about the holidays and what pressure that puts on us, because, like you said, this is the first time, maybe a year or two, that we're with family, and we never really had a great time with family to begin with, and a lot of times when we're with family, there's a lot of traditional foods around that you do only get once a year, and so there's that. I don't want to miss out on that. And that's understandable. You don't want to. You don't want to have to miss out on that. So how do you maneuver through the holidays? Do you make that clear choice of, no, I'm not going to, and just stick to my healthy guidelines? Or Chanel was talking about moderation. I absolutely agree with that. I think that we need to do yes and. I have a really good friend who ran an improv theater for many years, and that was one of the things I learned from her. It's not yeah, but it's always yes and. And so how do you do that, especially if you know you have those tendencies towards addictions to certain types of foods? is to move through this. So the crush cravings is one way to do that. Like you also said, make a decision. Sometimes it's just a decision. How am I going? A plan. What's my decision for today? It doesn't have to be for the entire 5 weeks. What's the decision for the party today? How am I going to handle the party today? What am I going to do when grandma says, eat another piece? What am I going to do when someone tells me you look thin? You know, what those type of, be prepared for what might come about, and you'll feel more confident with your decisions about how you handle the situation that you're walking into. So those are some ways that you can be successful. And I don't mean not participate in any of those things, because I would feel like I missed out if I didn't have certain things that, you know, we have every year at the holiday time, and I don't want to feel that way. So it's making a plan, making a decision. How am I going to go into that event, both around food and conversation that might come up, and you know your family pretty well. You might get sidetracked by someone that you don't know well, but how would you even handle that? And just think about that. It doesn't have to be written out. It doesn't have, I don't believe in anything difficult or long, or I think more ease is meant to be, but just have some kind of mental plan on what you're going to do and how you're going to handle it.
I think that's phenomenal. So for my Latinas listening, that is phenomenal. Let me tell you why. Because when you go, I'm sure the badass food is familiar. I don't have a plate around. You know, the big plates, the flat plates. Yep. Well, they'll put a mountain of it, and the whole plate is covered. You don't even know what design's on the plate until you ate the last scoop of rice. And then they're like, come, and then they want to serve you more. What you just said, it's very good, because, you know, it's all about holding ourselves accountable and self-commitment without offending and without being offended. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you got to I think you really got to put that thick layer of skin on that day. And if you want a little bit of what they have, bring your own plate. I would say, or make sure you leave it over there, because then you can, or serve yourself. Don't let them serve you. And then like that, you can enjoy it. See, I don't eat rice anymore or pork that way. I don't eat ham at all. But there's other stuff that they like on Maron. You ever had a Puerto Rican potato salad? It just doesn't taste like anybody else's. But then they have all that mayonnaise, right? So then it's like, it's choose wisely. I think that's what it is. Choose wisely, mm-hmm. and don't make yourself feel like, you know, what's that word I'm looking for? Where you're forced to eat what someone else gives you. Like, what's come on, badass Buddha? What's that word I want? Don't make yourself feel like you cannot not do this. You can do it in moderation. I'm not there yet. I have to stick to something right now because I'm Puerto Rican and Italian, and we love food.
Yes.
Like, we love food. Like, bread is like, I saw this meme yesterday where there's a monkey and it says, are you sure it's okay to drink this coffee like that? And the person says, like this how? Well, like this, without bread. like the coffee wasn't acceptable because it wasn't accompanied with a piece of bread, the thick bread with the butter. So I just think it is. And Bridget says obligated. Absolutely.
Yes, that's the word you were looking for, right?
Be the grown person in your life and say, oh my God, everything smells good. This is what I'm going to have. And just do it. Take the initiative. And they're going to look at you. Half of them are going to wish they had that kind of, strength and composure to just say, I only want this. Because really, Vickie, what is it, badass? When you it's really that satisfying that palate with a little bit. We overindulge. The palate needs to taste that little bit.
Yes.
Look, I'm salivating now just thinking about that potato salad. So when you put that, just if you have 2 scoops of rice or 3 scoops of rice or whatever, or the fist thing, and it's just about satisfying that palate, and then that's it. And then make sure you have your water. I don't know. Everybody's different. And I'm convincing myself, not that I'm going to be here for the holidays, but I'm trying to, we all have to do it for the betterment of ourselves.
You said something very golden. You said that also what they think, what the others think when you're eating. And that is also part of the problem, is
Yeah.
because you're making them uncomfortable because they're used to you eating a certain way, they eat a certain way. And if you all of a sudden walk in and you're like, even quietly, if you're doing it, that you've decided, I'm not going to have the bread because I really don't want the gluten, and I'm doing this, and I'm not going to have the dessert, then somebody will have a problem with it, because it's not so much because you're not doing it. It's because that's making them feel uncomfortable, because they're thinking, should I be not doing that too? And who are they to walk in? And so a lot of times that gets pushed on us too, because the other individual feels uncomfortable. Oh, what's the matter with you? Why aren't you eating? Oh, you're on another diet. Like, they make all these little remarks, and you have to be really strong about it and just brush it off. Just say, no, I'm not really in the mood for it. And you can lie your ass off, whatever you want to do to get past it. I'm not in the mood for it. Or I'm not that hungry today. I don't know.
Or mind your business.
Yeah.
Just
Or
mind
that.
your business. Back up. Are you in my space?
That's
Yeah. My brother-in-law, gotta love him. He knows I'm trying to eat right? Because it's difficult when you're in someone else's house. And then, so I've been having like a lot of salads with my stuff. And then one day I didn't. I don't know what was there. Oh, Lori, what I told you, the coconut custard pie. Oh, madam, talk about a weakness. It was so orgasmic, and I'm celibate, so I needed that orgasm. And he's like, oh, what happened? What happened to your diet? And I was like, shut up and get away from me. It was like that demon angel on my shoulder, and he just kept, oh, what happened to the diet? And I'm like, how are you even watching my every move? And they do it like, I don't think it's malice. I think it's like, oh, weren't you on a diet yesterday? And it's not diet. And I think that whole word we need to exterminate.
But yes, die, because the first three letters are die. But I don't think, it's not that it's not malice, but it's subconscious, and it is meant to be a little malicious, because when people do that, they have to point out the fact that you caved to sort of put into your face that you're not so perfect, which means that they're not so perfect. Nobody ever said anybody was perfect. That's the reality. That's the interesting part of it, right? So, like, Vickie, what would you give? Let's talk about some tips that you would give to the tribe, to say when you're there, like, you started to say it, and then even going forward. So let's say Thanksgiving starts the eating craving, and then you go through that, and then all of a sudden there's the leftovers that are still in the house, and the next thing you know, you pick for the next few days. Then people start bringing in stuff for the hot Christmas, and they're coming back with cookies. And so what would you recommend especially to control from Thanksgiving until New Year's Day? Like, what are some tricks that you could quickly just recommend to people to do to start?
Well, one of the things I wanted to acknowledge is this gladiator guru, you were talking about something that was also a golden nugget, and that is that your palate is going to tell you, ooh, this tastes really good, but really it takes 1 to 3 bites before that taste dissolves.
Yes.
However, your mind is so powerful that it decides that your body wants or needs more, which means that you're utilizing your mind in a way that is inefficient for what your results you want. What if you change that piece? And it's much easier than people think. I've been talking about hypnosis a little bit, but it is much easier than one would think. Part of that is through repetition, which gets really boring to do that over and over again. But there are ways to help you reprogram your very powerful mind into the ways to get the results you want. So keep that in mind as well. So part of that too is making that decision. We talked about, make a decision, have a plan. So that's part of it. Also realizing that really it is only 1 to 3 bites of something, and physically you are satisfied with it. And that's been proven. So it's not like it's old news. It's your mind that keeps telling you need to eat more. That's
eat the whole slice, the whole half a pie.
Yeah, and
get another one.
Yeah, and how many of us had to sit at dinner table and finish your broccoli because you had to clean your plate? Those type of things that programmed in our mind that we have to be at the clean plate club. And as we're talking about family obligations and then family members who are noticing what you're eating and not eating, all of that stuff, your mind is keeping track of as well. So that's definitely true as well. Some of the things that you can do to help thin down the calories. So what do I mean by that? So take small portion. We talked about that. A tablespoon. Seriously, if it's something you want, that potato salad sounds amazing. I wish you could send me some. But a tablespoon of it. What do you do with leftovers? Try not to take them home if you really think you're going to have trouble with them. I had one client. Her mom made her an entire pecan pie, or pecan, however you like to say it, for her to take home. She was a single woman. She didn't need an entire pie in her apartment. And she found the courage to find a dumpster before she got to her apartment and throw it away.
Good.
It was, she accepted it. She accepted her mom's love and intention around it. But she was like, I don't need this in my apartment. Let me do this.
Yes.
And without the guilt or shame that she felt like she dishonored her mom in some way. So if you don't really want them in your place, then don't take them home. Find a place. You don't have to refuse them. Just find a place to throw them out. So be respectful in that way. If you do have the leftovers at home, then again, have a plan for them. What are you going to do with them? Freeze them. Freeze a lot of them so you can have them over a longer period of time. Alcohol-wise, if you have 2 glasses of water, and especially this time of year, they're also calorie and carb dense. A lot of our drinks that we have to celebrate, have 2 glasses of water between drinks, or have seltzer or something. So that will cut back the carbs and the calories. It's actually been proven just by the 2 glasses of water between drinks, or having seltzer, or having watering it down, whatever it might be, will release 10 pounds in a year. So if you do that the whole year, you can let go of 10 pounds pretty much with ease. Also, be very aware of who keeps filling your wine glass. So a lot of people will run into that. They're at a party and they didn't realize that all of a sudden they drank a half a bottle or more because somebody kept filling their wine glass. And so be aware, who is that person? They're really trying to be a great host or hostess, but pay attention and just tell them no thank you when they come near you. So just be aware of what they're doing. There's usually no hard feelings. They're just trying to be a good host or hostess and make sure that your glass is full at all times. So pay attention to how much alcohol you're having and what quantities. Cutting back to either half or watering it down somehow is very helpful to keep those calories away, the carbs away. Any other suggestions? I know you guys have tons of them as well. I'd love to hear what you have to offer.
Right. I get what I get from everything you just said, which is phenomenal. I hate leftovers, so I'm bougie like that. So that's it's and I live alone, and my niece is the only one who cooks. So it's more what I keep. But everything you said was about strengthening our boundaries. Everything you just mentioned is, if we have a solid boundary thing where, even though it's difficult for us, but the boundary's still there, it's hard enough for us to fight that temptation. We need to keep a boundary where that's it. I don't want no more. Put your hand over it. Don't give me any more. And it's not about being rude. It's about being like certain, having a certainty where, no, I'm good. So before I go to pour everyone else's glass, I'm going to know Vickie don't want no more. So I'm going to skip you unless you ask. But before I would do that, I need to hear from you saying, no, I don't want any more. No, thanks. I'm good. So it is about boundaries and learning. And if you're going to do that mindset, because I'm in the process too, mi gente. I lost, what was it, badass? 11? When I got here, everybody said, oh, you lost so much weight. And then it's like, I've been here a month and it's like, oh, maron. It went right back out the window. So it's about setting boundaries, and it's about holding myself accountable. Of what times I eat and everything. And it's been a battle all my life. But you know what? I'm tired of battling. I want to live in peace. And in order to live in peace in here and in my heart, I have to make sure that my body's healthy enough to carry me through that inner battle. Because the battle on the outside is, I don't need that coconut custard pie. You
Yes.
know, it reminds me of my mom, so it's easy for me to eat it. So, but we don't need, and so there's two battles we're dealing with, and the inside one shouldn't be a bloodbath. It should be just a haughty conversation. Like, what the hell? I told you not to do that. That's all it should be. And then align yourself with it. But set your boundaries. Set your boundaries. This holiday, mi gente, set your boundaries. And I love the tablespoon.
Yeah, I do too.
And
I
then just
like
let
that.
it marinate on your palate. Let it think that you've eaten like 3 or 4 tablespoons.
Don't
Don't,
swallow so
because
quickly.
I'm a quick eater because I hate my food getting cold. And then I hate like room temperature food to feel icky. So I eat like I'm starving. That's my main issue. Like, chew, bitch, chew. And that's my problem. But I think I like that. I'm gonna try that if I get like that strong inclination. Again, I'm not gonna be around my family for Thanksgiving. So hopefully that'll be something that won't be tempting. But boundaries, keep your boundaries.
Yeah, that's a good one.
When I lost my 10, 11 pounds before I got here, I had nothing in my cupboard or in my refrigerator that was going to tempt me because I know I'm weak for that. Food got me through those years of molestation. We have a real bond that I don't think anything can sever just like that. So in order to not fall into that, I couldn't have anything that was going to say, like the badass said, just one. I don't like sweets, so I wouldn't have cookies in my house. But I love crunchy chips. I love crunchy. I even tried to do the celery crunch. It's just not the same.
No, it's not.
It doesn't like, one of my personalities is, a hellhound. So it doesn't satisfy her, the celery crunch. And that's why I had to eliminate that. And I just think it's just that, setting those boundaries for yourself first. And then setting it out and let it vibrate towards everybody else around you.
The other piece is being mindful, like being aware. And I think that's the biggest problem, is that we mindlessly eat most of the time. And so if you're going to go over the family's house for Thanksgiving, let's say, and you say to yourself, in your head, you start to think about what's going to show up on the table. And then you say, oh my God, I like this and I like this and I'm going to go crazy and I'm going to overeat. Well, then you're right if you say that. So say to yourself, okay, what is the most important food that I would really like to have and eat this time around? And then you say, well, I like everything. Okay, but just pick like a couple of your favorites and just have that, or just have smaller portions of everything. Be mindful as you're eating. Pay attention to how much you've had. Don't be taught, shoving the stuff in and then talking to somebody and then realize you go up for a second plate and you don't even notice it until you're like halfway done with the second plate. Take some of the items and say, I don't really need to eat that today. It's only going to taste good at that moment. Like that coconut custard pie tasted great at that moment. And then the next day you're like, why did I eat that? I always
the next hour.
I call that especially when you overeat, because everything tasted so good, you get a food hangover. It's like you the next day you're like, oh my God, why did I eat like that? I feel like crap. You actually feel hungover, like as if you were drinking alcohol. So be aware of that. And if you do want to eat throughout the day, like if you're one of those, you get there at like noon and you're there till like 10 p.m. at night and the food is flowing the whole time, just pace yourself and then go for a walk. Do something that you're moving around so that you're burning some stuff off, and then you won't be maybe as hungry. Drink a lot of water. But there's always these little tricks that you could do so that you're again, it's just all being mindful. It's being aware. Like the one thing I definitely do is I go in my head and think about what's going to show up that is a problem for me. Like that I know that if I eat it, that I'm going to want more of it. And so I start to think, I'm like, okay, so maybe that's the piece that I'm just really not going to eat. Like my next door neighbor makes this phenomenal pumpkin pudding. And it is, I can literally like just keep eating it. And because it's just mushy, it's like you can shove in so much before you realize you ate too much, So I have a choice. I have 3 choices. Either go crazy and eat as much as possible, like I usually do, or eat a little bit, or eat none at all. And then I have to say, well, okay, I don't want to eat too much. So it's either a little bit or none at all. If I eat a little bit, can I stop? Like, will I be able to stop? And I know how I am with sugar, and that's not always the case. So I'll look at it and say, I'm not going to eat it. So some people go, well, how could you do that? Because it's here. I don't miss it all year. Like, I don't miss it. It's when it's in front of me on that day. That's when I notice it and say, oh, I would love to have that because it's there. But I don't want to spawn something else in the days to come where I start binging on other stuff because of that sugar rush that I got. So mindful eating, that's the piece of it, is just be aware of what you're putting in your mouth and how much you're putting in and why you're eating what you're eating. And could you forego that particular thing? And your absolute favorites, then you say, okay, well, I'm going to allow myself to have that. Like, I can't do breads anymore. And the same neighbor makes this killer sausage bread, and it's like, I'm not going to eat the sausage bread. And it's good because everybody eats it. So if you don't jump on it quick, it goes. And I'm fine with that because I know if I cut one slice, then I'm going to want another slice. And then, so I just say, okay, this is what I'm going to eat today. And usually I'm pretty good. I'm better with company. It's interesting. I'm better at parties of controlling what I'm eating than when I'm by myself.
Because no one can see the glutton that we can become.
Yeah. So that's what I have to worry about. So the leftovers do become a problem. That's why I love the idea of just getting rid of them or throwing them out or freezing them. Like you said, Vickie, that was a really good idea.
Yeah.
And we also have to look at, and I love what you both, I agree with everything y'all were both saying, but also look at what's your reluctance to throwing food away. Where did that come from? Because a lot of times that is also tied to some of your money questions about yourself, about your family. I grew up that food was like gold and you didn't throw it away. You used everything. Exactly. And so there was a whole lot of guilt I had to learn to get through and over by throwing away food. Now my husband's like, well, where did such and such go? And I'm like, well, it was a couple weeks old. I threw it out. Well, you didn't have to do, he's like, where did that go? It's gone. So that's something that might need to be investigated over the long run, is what is this complication around throwing away food and where did it come from? And is it really your decision? I mean, is it your choice, your conclusion about it that you want to continue to live with? And also, one of the things I ask myself too when I'm in that indulging place is, do I want to deal with the consequences afterwards? Yes. Because I know that if I eat too much sugar, and sometimes too much sugar is a tablespoonful, I will start feeling anxious the next day. Yes. It's just what happens to me.
Hungrier. And one thing I want to say, because we're short on time, but you brought up something. So you said about throwing out the food. Mm-hmm. And that is a big one. And the other big one is what Gladiator Guru said, that, she can talk about this real quickly. It's our mindset. If we throw out food, it's wasteful, blah, blah, blah. But also if our fridge is not stuffed, if our pantry is not stuffed, it is a problem. And Vickie, if you have to get off, that's fine. You just let us know. But Gladiator Guru's fridge was almost empty because she only had what she wanted to eat. And what did your son say to you?
I was showing my son something. He's like, Ma, why didn't you tell me you don't have money? And I said, what are you talking about? And my son's here, but we were FaceTiming. I said, everything I need is in the refrigerator. I said, even in the freezer, look. And he thought, he goes, I'm going to buy 2 mugs from you. He sent me this astronomical amount of money, held me money. And I was like, don't do that. I said, this is how I have to nurture my soul and make sure that this body that's carrying my spirit and my soul is healthy enough to do that.
Yes.
So I think, you know what, again, it's all about what do you have? And it's true. We grew up with, how dare you not eat your food? How many kids are starving out there? So it was guilt. Now, mind you, we were not introduced to vegetables until I was an adult and I introduced myself to it. We were very, very, very poor. So it was always rice, beans, and some type of fried meat.
Yes.
Yes. So, and I can't blame them. That was the time where
it was the culture.
I was eating. Mm-hmm. So, and that's how, and sometimes we didn't want to eat it, and that's what we were told. Like, how dare you? There's so many kids out there who have no food, and so that stays with you too. and you
Vicky, do
can
you
get
need to
off.
go? You have to
I
run?
do need to go. I have
Okay.
a client that I need to
Thank
take care
you.
of. But
Thank you so much
thank
for
you so
coming
much.
on. We're thrilled that you're here. We hope to have you on again after the first of the year. And thank you so much. And Vicky, if you need to sign off, Gladiator Guru and I can close off the program, right?
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and have a great holiday.
Yes, you too, Vicky.
All right,
Bye.
thank you. Bye, everyone.
So this was good. This was, you know what? We all had some really good information to share with everybody because this is getting to be, if already people had challenges during the year, the holidays really sink it in. And then at the end, in the beginning of the next year, people just want to be like, oh, that's it. I've had it. I can't do this anymore. And we do this ridiculous cycle, you know?
But we can do it. We can do it. Enough. We've grown so accustomed to feeling uncomfortable. Before the gluten was made something that was a medical condition, we just assumed that our bodies, something was wrong with our bodies, with our intestines, not realizing that what we were eating was causing that. So I just think it's about learning what your body is, because some people can eat gluten and have a problem. Don't mean you sit at the same table having the same meal. Learn who the hell you are.
Yeah.
Learn what your body wants and what it doesn't want, because that's your body talking to you like, don't give me that. I don't want that. And then we still force feed it. And then we get sick, we get bloated, we get gassy, we get the runs, we get constipated. Now remember, that area that I just spoke about is our center. And every illness that we have is formed in the gut. So and I'm speaking because I need to hear this too. Remember that we need to be more aware, and we need to be an advocate for our health. And learning now, even though I really haven't went left field and my eating habits, I haven't had the fruit that I'm supposed to, or the right vegetables, and the way my body feels, and I haven't been sick like this in years. Like, I got sick sometime last year, but not like this. It's just letting me know that I have to be the advocate for me. So let's start advocating for ourselves. And it's not about it, and close yourself off to other people's opinions or views or any comments, and start learning. One day eat something, and the other day eat. I'm not a health expert, but you know what? Advocate for yourself.
Yes, absolutely. So they don't have to live in your body. You have to live in your body. And what they want to do for themselves is up to is their choice. Don't give away your power and then say, well, I felt bad because they wanted me to eat. You'll get past that. They'll learn the new you. Give them a chance. They can talk all the junk that they want to talk. They'll learn the new you. And oh, well, she doesn't eat that anyway. Like, I love when they do stuff like that. Oh, she doesn't eat that stuff anymore. And they do this little head thing and blah, blah, blah. And just let them do it.
Yeah, just do it.
And I feel fabulous.
That's it. Let them do it. And don't, like I said, it's about you and every step you take and every waking moment you have. And it's even about how well you sleep by what you eat. So just tell your mind to relax. Try to relax it, and only at home, only buy what you know it's going to service your body. And when you go out, it'll be much easier if you start at home. Everything starts with us, wherever we are. And then when we go out, it's that, I don't know, I'm visioning that vibrational wave that just, that goes all around you with that pinkish aura. And just do that. Just do that, mi gente. And that's what I have to say for now.
Yay. Perfect. All right. So we will see all of you on Thursday. And Thursday we have Being Self with Jennifer Dragonette Jacobson. She was on our evening show last month, and she's such a joy to be around. She's such a sweetheart. She's got fabulous energy. And we hope that you come onto that show and get a nice boost to start your day. She's really great.
Yes. Are you coming on her podcast?
I think I was on her podcast already.
Yeah, I have. I actually have. It came up on the 11th. I'll be on her podcast. But yeah,
great.
And I love her name. Isn't she like the Little Mermaid or the the land mermaid or something like that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
so she's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yes, she is.
And
All right.
Melissa Hernandez Moran, I'll never forget, the one who made us make 100 on YouTube. It don't matter if we're at 1,000, you're always going to be that
right.
chick.
That's right, Melissa. Yeah, because she allowed us to have our name in the YouTube link. So thank you so much. All right. So we'll see you all Thursday. And from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And from the who am I?
Gladiator Guru.
I'm sorry, it's time for my meds. From the Gladiator Guru, mi gente, remember, breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. Have a great day.